Alright everyone, we're all set up for the Evoland run by Cruel. Again, I can confirm Vigilance will be ready for after this run. So sorry for the inconvenience, enjoy Evoland.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Evoland. My name is Cruel. On the couch behind me, Hapkan and Nam, another runner for Evoland. And I guess we're just gonna go right into it. So let's get started in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! So Evoland is a little bit of a unique sort of RPG in that rather than getting a bunch of equipment and upgrading your character and gaining levels and all that sort of stuff as you progress the game, instead we'll be evolving the game around us. So we're going to start with, unlocking, being able to scroll through. You get side scrolling, we just unlocked monsters. That's a thing. We're going to get some music. This is the one chest that I'm picking up that we don't normally actually pick up in any percent, which is the save data. We're going to get colors unlocked. And slowly but steadily, we're growing the game into a pretty standard 2D RPG-like game. As we will go, we're actually going to be seeing a variety of different RPG genres show up. And that's kind of something that Evoland is known for. It uses a lot of different genres in their games. Evoland 2 even more so, where I think you have just about every single genre except for maybe like racing games or something. Now here at the end we've got 2 of these guards that we need to defeat. I'm going to try to get some double hits in, but I didn't succeed in doing that. We unlock it, we pick up the chest, and into the overworld we go. Now here in the overworld, the first thing we're going to do is unlock some random battles. We actually need to kill 4 enemies in total. Ideally, we want to see 4 slimes spread over 2 battles. But there is also the Emok, and the Emok is a little bit slower to kill. But usually as long as you get exactly 4 enemies in 2 battles, that would still be ideal. So we'll see what's going to happen. We'll also get mode 7. Very 3D-like graphics, as you can tell. Okay, so we got an Emok, which is not ideal. I can be okay with this if the next encounter is just 1 enemy. But this does put us in a little bit of an awkward spot here, because now I have to grind out an extra enemy. Okay, here we go. And it's a double, just to make matters worse. We need these enemies because we need the money we get out of it to buy a sword and an armor in the next place. If I don't have those, then I won't be able to progress the game, and they cost 250 gil in total. But we can get 50 once we're in the town itself. Also, I always pick up the place names there because that's a 100% thing. I shouldn't do that, but I always forget about it, and it always messes with me. Luckily, it doesn't actually lose any time to pick it up, so it's not a huge deal. Now we unlock the village, and we're also going to unlock the NPCs. The NPCs won't talk to us because we're still a kid, so instead we're going to pick up this seed in a secret place, and we're going to grow tall, and now we're this big boy, and we can talk to NPCs. But the one NPC we need to talk to isn't actually unlocked yet because it's in one of the buildings, and we still haven't unlocked being able to enter buildings, so we're going to do just that. This chest, enter houses.
Actually, one small thing, the NPC chest isn't really needed, though.
Isn't it?
No, it isn't.
I always thought it was...
If you grab the shopkeeper chest, the shopkeeper will show up no matter if you get the NPCs or not.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Again, it's one of those cases where it might lose like at most half a second or something, so it's probably not very relevant.
Yeah, it's not very relevant. The thing also is, I'm in the moment one out of, I think, 3 runners who actively run this game. So yeah.
Yeah, plus, I mean, you've been learning the game recently, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been running it for like half a year by now. I mean, my PB isn't that bad. I'm 2 minutes behind Cruel in the moment, who I set myself as a rival since he was the person who brought me into this run. in some sorts.
So yeah, in any case, we get our friend Kairis there. She was attacked by monsters. We defeat the monsters. We move on. We get ourselves named Clink. Totally not any reference to any other games there. Conveniently enough, we also get healed here. I'm gonna try to just run away from every battle. With these, it's like around the same time either way, because they would go down in 2 hits. So it doesn't really matter too much, but especially with bigger enemy packs or enemies that can tank a lot more hits, I'm just gonna run away. So this is where we get a pretty important chest, the EXP points, which will actually get me a few levels before going into the bigger bosses later on in the run. We're not gonna get any experience from the enemies beforehand, but we will get some experience from the boss in this place.
I have to say, I personally like to kill, if it's possible, either 4 Skavens or 2 Cobra Zeros. Because I personally like the strat. If you reach level 2, which is either in 2 Cobra Zeros or 4 Skavens, with higher rolls, you might be able to kill the boss a little bit faster.
So there you saw a little bit of a glitch that occasionally happens here. Well, I first should explain the glitch that we actually did, because it's a glitch we'll be seeing quite a lot over the course of the run. What I did is I stepped onto a button, and then on the frame that I got into the button, I tabbed into the menu. And by tabbing out as the animation plays, I can actually move around during the sound of the thing. This is the first boss, by the way. This is Kefka's Ghost. But what happened is an enemy spawned while I was moving around during a cutscene, so the game gets confused as a result and caused a secondary enemy to spawn at the same time. And that's what the double battle just now was about. Okay, Kyra's taking quite a bit of damage here, but luckily we got the heal here.
So as you can see, the enemy turns blue. In his blue stance, he will take next to no damage, and he will always counter if you attack him there. And oh, you got the Clink glitch.
Yep, this is another minor glitch that occasionally happens.
We have no real idea how it triggers, but it saves a lot of time in that case. Since as you see, every time the characters attack, they move forward. And for Clink, this doesn't happen that much anymore now. So his attacks are a little faster.
Yeah, I don't think it actually saves a whole lot, but it does save. Again, we're talking a couple of seconds maybe.
Well, a couple of seconds more or less can always make a difference between PB or not PB.
True. So in any case, once we defeat the boss, we get 3D mode. I'm gonna pick up this chest. Again, I always forget that's the secondary chest because this is where the hearts are at. Again, this is little things between 100% and any percent. Usually when I run the game, I usually prefer running 100% because it's just, in a lot of ways, it's a more interesting category. In 100%, you have to get all of the achievements, which also requires me to pick up every single chest in the game. We go over this path, and now we're back in where we actually started the game. The dimensional stone has now been passed. And now we get to do it in 3D, which means we get access to a few parts that we couldn't enter before. So we're just gonna walk around. Not really a whole lot to say here. So, host, if you have anything that you want to talk about, now would be a fantastic time.
For sure, I can tell you about our marathon, even though you probably know more about it than me. But to all our viewers, we are the Benelux Speedrunner Gathering. We organize bi-monthly gatherings in the Benelux for speedrunners. We're currently streaming our annual event live from Hotel Esteria in Rijn in the Netherlands. We're raising money for the Dutch Cancer Society, which is a nationwide organization committed to fight cancer while aiming for more cure and a higher quality of life for those already battling the disease. All of your donations will go to the Dutch Cancer Society. I'd like to also remind all of our viewers that there's a bonus game unlocking at 6.5k euros, which is an amazing game. I would really like to see it, so if you want to see it as well, donate.
Okay, so there's actually a few things that just happened. First of all, we unlocked 3D in the overworld. We did a bit of a cutscene skip by picking up the chest chest that unlocked the path here. Slightly further to the right, we actually don't trigger a cutscene with Kairos, which saves a little bit of time. And then I tried to do another one of those pressure plate glitches. Okay, so this room is a bit of a technical one. We've got a trap room here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to slash the bats, and I'm going to try to get into the menu as I kill the third bat. Okay, we got it. Just barely, but we got it. I wait for everything to spawn, and now I'm going to move over to the chest, pick it up, and we're just going to cancel out. And that saves approximately 3 seconds.
Yeah, this part is the part I have to practice most. This is the part where I, compared to Cruel, lose the most time, probably.
Yeah, this is probably one of the more technical dungeons, just because of how many minor glitches you use to save little bits of time here and there. So I'm going to go around here. We're going to unlock the path here. Got a bit of a damage boost from the mage there, which is actually kind of helpful. I got hit, and the damage isn't ideal, but it doesn't really matter if I take if I take a bit of damage here. Or later on in this part, we're actually going to be doing a death warp, so having some damage here and there, you know, it's okay. You get healed before that point, though, so I just need to survive, essentially. Okay, so right here, we're going to get into a room with 2 skeletons, and I'm going to try to manipulate the skeletons to buy me a little bit more time in the rest of it. So the skeleton had to move 2 extra tiles before it was able to turn around again and actually start to walking towards me. Here I cancelled out, and that allows me to move around even though the cutscene is playing. It's basically just other examples of the same glitch that we keep using. But here it's actually going to be a relatively important one. We actually wait for the entire cutscene to play, and that allows us to walk with the menu just like before, which allows us to skip a battle here. There's 3 skeletons, but by cancelling out of the menu as this triggers, I can actually end up on the other side of the gate. Now the important part is that I don't walk too far to the right, or it is actually possible to soft lock the game there. Okay, so this one is just RNG where he starts, and he's actually in kind of a bad position right now. I can try pushing him down. Okay, luckily he helped me a bit on the end, but I had my fingers in the wrong position, so I wasn't able to trigger another cutscene there. That loses a little bit, or another cutscene skip, I should say. Here we could, and we're just gonna move on. So next up is 3 tornadoes that 3 lines of tornadoes that we have to go through. I can use another combination of the menu trick to just make that easier on myself. There we go.
Now this room is a pain in the...
Yeah, this room is not fun. It really is trying to dodge those fireballs and stay on the path, and those mages control quite badly.
In a D-Rust a few months back, I lost in this room 40 seconds.
Yeah, you can do that. I've definitely lost that kind of time in that room before. So here I'm going to damage boost through the spikes. Try to pick up the... Okay, there we go. I can't really take any more damage, so I have to be very careful here now.
Well, but that's good for the death warp.
Yeah,
we're getting a little healed before we reach it anyway, so... But yeah, there's still a few monsters that have potential to kill us.
Okay, I got a little bit of health back. That was actually pretty scary, because if you die there, you lose quite a lot of time. It is true that that we do need low health for a death warp coming up, but getting down all the way to a quarter heart is a little bit closer than I'd like. But yeah, we cut open that pot right there. I'm gonna walk down.
That's very important. The chest that we picked up at the start, the break pots, is very important, because if you don't grab it, you can't actually make it through this room there.
Yeah, and I remember when I started running this game, I figured, oh, maybe we can skip this chest as well. And then I got stuck there, and that lost me a lot of time.
Happened to me a lot too.
So normally I'd actually try to do some lava boosts to lower my health further, but because it's a marathon setting, I'd rather enter this room at a little bit of a higher health. We're just going to take some damage from the skeletons and the mages and whatnot to die as quick as possible. And this will actually allow us to keep the boss key, but it sets us back to the start of the dungeon. And that way we don't actually have to clear the entire room of enemies before we can move on. So we can just instantly head towards the boss. Now, this is actually one of the easiest bosses in any percent, but one of the hardest bosses in 100%, because in 100% you have to stay at full health throughout the fight, or rather, you have to be at full health as the fight ends.
Although I would say not the easiest in any percent. I would say the one on the warrants is the easiest still. Because that one requires no skill or whatsoever. You just stand yourself in a certain position and spam attack.
True. Casually, that one's pretty tough, though.
Yeah.
I remember dying there a few times casually.
Me too.
Yeah, here we just try and dodge his fireballs and bats, and we wait for him to run into the wall. We can use the... Okay, he's being a little annoying here.
Yeah, this boss is, in my opinion, one of the most RNG heavy parts of the game. Because he has 3 attacks, and only with the dash we were able to damage him. And he just likes to troll and just don't do the dash at all.
Or do it when he's in a position where he won't actually hit the wall. There we go.
2 more hits. So yeah.
Yeah, this is pretty
that's
bad
the boss. That's the boss that I'm really not looking forward to when I start learning 100%. Because as Cruz said before, you need to leave the battle with full health. This is kind of annoying. I haven't done it myself yet.
So here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up this chest, cancel out. That starts the animation here. And now we're going to do some funny movement. We're also going to come up on probably the most time-saving glitch in the entire run, skipping this chest. Basically, what I'd like to do there is just line myself up with a patch of flowers. And there's actually 1 pixel horizontally that you can use to go past it.
Yeah.
It's luckily, like, whenever you fail, you can just quit out of the game, restart, and it only loses a few seconds, but...
Yeah, this chest is mainly the reason why I mainly don't pick up Mode 7, because the lineup in Mode 7 is something I haven't really got by now. But Mode 7 isn't really necessary, so you can just keep the other view, and with that it's pretty easy to get the chest glitch.
Yeah, with this, I've always learned the chest glitch with Mode 7, so I tend to just use that instead. In any case, we're going to do a bit of a quest through town where we have to talk to a bunch of people. We're going to unlock a few people as well, but this is pretty straightforward, just story bits, really. So I'll briefly go over the story, and then I'll have some time for the host to say more stuff. But basically, there have been scorch marks, and people are very sad because of some creature in the dark castle or citadel or whatever it's called, some tower that we need to go through to. And in order to do that, we need to unlock 2 halves of an amulet. So we're gonna try and go find those amulets. I'm gonna just unlock a few NPCs and whatnot.
And before we are able to unlock the amulets, we are in need of some bombs. And then a person tells us, hey, a veteran, that would be the person here to the left, has some. He says, no, I don't have one. Ask the nurse. The nurse says, hey, there's an old woman that has it. She tells there's a dragon around the city that we have to kill to give it to us. And in the end, it turns out the dragon is just a boy around the marketplace.
Yeah, you'll see that happening soon. So in any case, host, if you want to talk about anything...
Sure, will do. We can talk about I can talk to you about the incentives. Coming up next, after Vigilance, will be Mario Kart Wii, for which you can choose what vehicle Nandy will be using in his run. You can either choose the Dolphin Dasher, the Mac Bike, or the Flame Runner. Dolphin Dasher is in the lead with 10 euros, but Mac Bike is following really close with 7. After that, we have the Harry Potter run, where you can choose to throw Professor McGonagall down the stairs, which is pretty cool. I'd
Yeah.
like to see Professor McGonagall thrown down the
Oh,
stairs.
it's a good incentive for sure. I've seen it happen a few times. It's definitely worth it. In any case, you can see Clink still doing a little bit of his weird movement here. But now we're actually going to pick up the bomb, and now that we've picked up a new item, that snaps him out of the cutscene from before. So we get the bombs and we get to move on now. So basically to get the amulet, we need to go through two parts. In the first part, we get a bit of a sequence similar to the one from before, and then the second one's going to be completely different. We need to go through this forest. It's a bit of a puzzle forest where we get to switch between our 2D and 3D versions. Few bats on the way here.
I just love the music. I don't care if it's the default one or the 16-bit. It's just so good.
Yeah, I agree. It definitely is. But yeah, we're also going to pick up another item which will allow us to do more minor glitching in a little bit. These crystals will let us switch between the 2D and 3D version, or rather past and present as they refer to it in the game. And only in 3D can I move past the black slates on the floor, but only in 2D can I pass over the little trees, because they haven't grown enough at that point to be able to block our path. So this part is a little bit tricky. I need to make sure that I don't fall down here, and these bats can be annoying and just push you down. But at the very end here, we'll find the bow, and then we'll do a bit of a classic BSG lava boost. Here we go, back to the start.
That was a big lava boost.
That saves quite a bit of time. So here I'm going to use the bow, tap into the menu, and I'm going to actually walk past this, have it go into 2D here, and that'll allow me to go over that tree while still in 2D version. So here I'm going to just place a bomb next to it, walk to the other side, and we'll switch to the other one. And this way we actually don't even have to solve any of the puzzles there. We can just skip basically all of them. So at this point, we've got another one of those little trees, so we do need to go back to 2D. I'm gonna just move already, because this way we can pretty much move as the cutscene is playing, which saves, I think, like a second and a half or something. They're all very small time saves, but they tend to add up. So I'm gonna cut down that bat, because the bat there is really annoying, and I need to cut that piece of grass there anyway.
Bats in general are very annoying in this game.
Yeah, their movement is very unpredictable, which makes it rather difficult to deal with.
Which is mostly the reason also that the first dungeon is most likely to be the one that you reset in, because there are a few bats pretty much in the start, and at that point you don't have your hearts yet, so you're instant death if you get hit once.
Yeah, the first like 2 minutes of the run are incredibly reset heavy as a result. But yeah, here's another little trick that we can do. We just shoot the arrow past the statue. There's one line of pixels where you can do that, which is quite convenient. I noticed the bat had dropped a heart, and I actually want to try to kind of be at high health coming out of this place. So I'm going to be a little bit careful here and there.
If it shouldn't work out, you could just take an extra visit at the nurse for safety.
Yeah, it is possible, but I'd like to try and not have to do that, if at all possible. So here we have a bunch of mages and skeletons. Unfortunately, the mage pushed me in a bit of a weird position there. Okay, well, that's one of them done. So you'll actually see the piece of the amulet just float around there. That's normal. Because we never completely picked it up, it's still going to be there. In any case, we enter the menu there after placing the bomb, and that actually causes the hitbox of the mage to still be there, which makes killing them quite a bit easier. So there's the kill on the final one. It's too late to get into the menu, but still not a big deal.
Yeah, so in general, the menu walks, as we call it mostly, have a big amount of time we can save with it in many different kinds.
Yeah, it's basically just a lot of small time saves combined. So here we Right. Whoops. I forgot to place another bomb here. I was supposed to switch and then hit it with a bomb. Or tap into the menu, but I didn't do that right. That's okay, though. So in any case, we're done with this part. We have the first half of the amulet. So now we're going to go back to town and we're going to trigger another glitch. And this is actually one of the glitches that you can't do in a 100% run. Because in 100%, we'll have picked up a bunch of cards at this point, causing this to just flat out be impossible. You see, there's actually a mini game in the town, which triggers if you have enough cards. But we're going to try and play the game, but we don't have the cards to do that, which causes me to be able to walk with a text box still in place. This is something that I just refer to as text box walking. So now we talk to the lady over here. She's the nurse, and as a result, we get to walk with the text box of the nurse there. Now, the text box of the nurse is an advantage in two ways. It'll heal my entire health back up first, and then it can be used as a save afterwards. So I'll actually be using that in this area so that I can heal up once I get rather low on health. And I'm going to try to keep the save until later on. So let's see how well we can do that. So this is more of a Diablo kind of sequence. We pick up the chained hits.
Could be close.
Fantastic. That worked out very nicely. So now I have the save with me. I'm still very, very good on health here. I managed to heal up just before I was able to pick up the health ball, if you'd call it that. I don't really need any chests. We're just going to keep walking, try and dodge every enemy. There's really not much to this. It's always interesting to try and get through this quick, because it feels so different from how you would do it casually. The mages over there are one that I kind of need to watch out for, because they actually deal a lot of damage.
The good part is they are pretty weak. They're normally down in one hit. But yeah, since of the ranged attacks and killing them is very slow, we try to avoid them as much as possible.
Yeah, so we'll move on. I'm actually kind of high on health right now. If I can stay this high, I might not actually have to use a death here to refill. I'm going to save there. That's generally a pretty safe spot to do that. If you save too close to the wall and end up reloading the game, you can actually load into a wall, causing you to soft lock completely.
Yeah, I mostly like to just save in the middle of the boss room and then decide if I do need to go back and kill myself. But
Okay,
yeah, that
should be fine. Especially with those two. Yeah, we've got over half health. We should be okay here.
that should definitely be enough.
So this is a pretty straightforward fight. It's actually pretty tough casually, but once you know what you need to do, it's actually not that hard. The main problem is that these fireballs, they deal a lot of damage. So that's what I need to watch out for. So I'm going to try to just manipulate him to the other side of this tombstone, and then we're just gonna mash. His claw attacks will still deal damage, but I can deal so much more damage because he can't hit me with fireballs.
That's the reason why we choose Karis over Clink in this section, because as you can see, maybe her hit combo deals with the third hit 2 times a good amount of damage, close to 300 points. With Clink, it would only deal 1 time 300 points.
Yeah, additionally, Karis is just much easier to deal with with groups of enemies, because she can attack all around her, where Clink's attacks are always in one direction. Meaning, if I get stuck between a group of enemies, I can actually just attack, and it wouldn't be a big deal. So those are some pretty cool items, by the way. In 100%, you have to collect all of them, and some of the boss bats can spawn more of them, which is kind of a pain sometimes. In any case, we get the second part of the amulet, we get another chest to show up, and it's a portal back to town. So we're going to make use of that portal. I'm going to do some shopping here, mainly to just buy a bunch of potions. The potions actually are worth it to buy here, because they'll speed up the fight against Zephyros, because I can just keep dealing damage with Karis and not have to worry about healing with her.
You just spoiled the audience.
Oh, right. Sorry. Good point. I did. So yeah, I guess I should mention we're now going towards the final boss. Time will not yet be as we kill him because we still have to do a second round with fighting against him. But right here in the tower, we'll meet Zephyros, the final boss of the game.
And for those who played a few games probably that remind you of this game, if you hear the names Clink, Karis, and Zephyros, you'll probably know what will happen soon.
Yeah, for those that haven't picked up on the reference, Clink is a combination of Cloud and Link. Karis is like Eris from FF7. So here I can just use a potion. This is what I was talking about. Zephyros is a reference to Sephiroth, the final boss, or one of the... I don't know if it's the final boss, actually. I still haven't finished FF7. I should do that sometime.
I haven't even started it yet.
Yeah, Sephiroth is like one of the big bosses in FF7, so it's a reference there. Kefka's ghost earlier. Kefka is the big evil boyo in Final Fantasy VI. So there's just a lot of references to other games. This is another case where Evoland 2 does that even more so. Evoland 2 has references to so many games out there.
Yeah, just to name a few, you meet Biggs and Wedge from many Final Fantasy games. There are a few South Park references in Street Fighter and whatsoever. I could probably...
Yeah, exactly. Chrono Trigger, Pokemon.
I could probably...
So many.
Keep talking about the references till the end of the run.
Probably, yeah. But since we're not doing Evoland 2, let's focus on these first. But yeah, it's a really cool concept in terms of you know, what it takes and what it does with it.
The other thing that you might see if we show the credits in the end, the developers developed this game within 48 hours for a contest. And so, of course, it's pretty short. For Evoland 2, though, they actually took the concept and made a real game out of it. So
yeah.
now Sephiroth has enough of us, and he just finishes off with a also famous Kamehameha.
Yeah, so we actually got kind of lucky there. Clink was on 73 HP, and he actually dealt 73 damage. It is possible to survive a hit there, especially with Clink. Which just causes him to charge up another Kamehameha not too far after, and that can make the fight very, very slow.
Although I personally think in theory it would be possible to even kill him without dying, but of course that would take like a few hours, so not really a good idea for the speedrun.
Yeah, not to mention it'd take quite a bit of grinding, I imagine. But I haven't seen anybody actually successfully do so. In any case, Kairos dies, he gets killed by Zephyros, and then, you know, that causes our hidden ability to unlock, one of which is summoning Babamoot, which will always deal exactly the amount of HP that the enemies have left. So it's a very convenient move.
But therefore he sadly also has a few minutes of cooldown, and we will never have to use him again, because that was the last turn-based battle that we fought.
Yep. We're actually getting pretty close to the end here. We're going to go back into town and talk to Sid. Sid is going to be giving us an airship, and that'll allow us to move to a lot of parts that we weren't able to enter before. There are several hidden dungeons that actually unlock here, but we're not going to go into any of them because that'd be slow. What we are going to do is go to the Mana Tree, which is where our final boss is going to be at.
I gotta personally say that part, to get the airship, is always the part when I'm most excited in my runs, because of course you're close to the final end boss. You'll take about 2 minutes to get back to the city and do a little bit of dialogue, and of course if you're on PB pace, it just feels like this part takes forever.
Yeah, I can agree. It definitely does. Especially because the final boss is still it still has a decent chunk of RNG in it. It's definitely not an easy boss fight. So this is also where, you know, you can still lose a lot of time on the final boss. So we'll see what happens. But so far so good. Okay, so we get ourselves the airship. The airship has a name. It's another Final Fantasy reference. I don't remember exactly what the name was, but either way, it's just a lot of walking.
Does the airship even have a name? I don't know. I mean, the unlocking scene there is
Yeah,
not mentioned, but
I think it's called the High Wind. Might it be? That sounds
be.
about right.
could be.
In any case, this is the mana tree, and this is where we'll fight Zephyros in his final form. Now, the Zephyros fight has 3 phases. We'll be seeing Zephyros first with his giant armor and hands, and we have to get rid of the hands. Each take 10 hits each. Then we have to get rid of the armor, and then once that's done, we get to fight Zephyros himself.
By the way, speaking of the armor, you knew by now that it is in theory possible to kill the armor in 2 cycles.
Yeah, I know.
If the ball, so in the second phase, he will fly around, breathe fire, and then we have to hit the eye on his chest. And that will cause a little ball to fly out of his body onto the other side of the stage. And it can land in 3 different positions. It can go straight, and it can go either a little more left or right. And that could cause us to be able to hit it twice.
So yeah, here with these hands, we always try to go for a triple. A double can be done very consistently by just holding down the spacebar, but a triple is very difficult to do that. Okay, so I went the wrong way there. Still got a hit in. Okay. Always need to focus on the amount of breaths that he does there. So that was 2. That's a nice double.
So yeah, also that's a nice joke here right now. In good old not Nintendo fashion, we have to deal 4 hits in phase 2 and phase 3.
Okay, so I actually again went the wrong way there, so I wasn't able to get the hit off.
Yeah, that's pure RNG where the ball flies, and that can be really annoying.
Okay, so time will be when the final text box closes after the final phase. So we're now going into the final phase. Again, we need to hit him 4 times. And this is a bit of a reference to Zelda games where I have to cast his own attack back to him. The blue balls will hit him. The red balls I can't hit back. So yeah, just get ready on time.
Yeah, that's the stupid part, in my opinion, about this fight. He keeps moving around. That could cause us to having no chance, depending on where we stand and where he stands, no chance to reflect the ball on him.
Yeah, sometimes that's a thing. There are ways to make that work. Okay, get ready. Time.
Even for a marathon run, I gotta say, good run, Cruel.
Thank you.
That's 30-second lower than my PB.
Thank you. That was a pretty good run, though. Like honestly, that was pretty decent. Very happy with how that went. So yeah, that's Evoland. Alphen and Nam, thank you very much for joining me here.
Always welcome.
And yeah, next up we'll go into Vigilance and enjoy the rest of the event. I'll be back for the Quirk Relay on the final day.
Thank you very much, Cruel, for that awesome run. Coming up next, it's Vigilance by Fireman. But before, we're gonna run some quick ads. See you.